Okay, let's get into this. We're talking to you, the ambitious person, the successful one, the one who really looks like they've got it all optimized on the outside. You know, the morning routine's perfect, your calendar, it's like a work of art, efficiency-wise. You hit your targets consistently, but there's often that quiet dissonance, isn't there? You feel it. Maybe you're that executive up at 5 a.m., leading the team, hitting every goal, but come evening, total exhaustion, neck seized up, maybe jaw clenched, and you find yourself just scrolling endlessly. You've optimized the external stuff, but inside, you feel, well, secretly unwell. It's this paradox of modern high performance, isn't it? Optimizing everything, but kind of denying yourself in the process. It's just not sustainable. We keep chasing success by pushing harder, denying what we feel. So for this deep dive, we're asking, what if the real key, the sustainable path, isn't out there? What if it runs right through the wisdom source we ignore the most, the body itself?
It's fascinating, really, how deeply rooted that belief is. That the body is just, a machine, something to push past or even transcend to get ahead. But when we really look into this wisdom from various sources, there's this powerful consensus. The body isn't a machine, it's more like a living scripture. Every little bit of tension, that slight tremor you ignore, that fatigue that makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's not a bug, it's a feature, it's a message, a profound one. Your body, hold on to the truth your mind might be trying to, let's say, conveniently forget. So our goal today, give you the tools to start understanding this language so you can align that ambition with something, well, more authentic, more real.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really frustrating for so many people, right?
Yeah.
They feel genuinely off, like that headache that won't quit or the back pain that keeps coming back, maybe just constant low-level anxiety. So they do the rounds, doctors, tests, everything comes back normal, and basically told, you're fine, but you know you're not fine. So what are these symptoms telling us? These things we tend to just ignore or push through?
They're telling us, quite directly sometimes, that the body has become the archive for all that internal conflict we haven't dealt with. And modern research, psychosomatic research, really bridges this gap for us now. It confirms it. Those unprocessed emotions, the grief you didn't let out, the anger you swallowed, maybe the fear you pushed down to look strong, they don't just evaporate. Now they have to go somewhere. So they migrate.
Migrate, how do you mean?
They settle into physical forms, often chronic ones. That jaw pain could be years of unexpressed boundaries, those autoimmune flare-ups, often linked to unresolved inner turmoil, insomnia. The body's way of saying something's fundamentally out of balance. The body literally keeps the score, archiving the conflicts the mind decided were maybe too inconvenient.
And we're conditioned to see these as weaknesses, aren't we? Like, oh, just push through it or take something for it, but you're saying we should flip that.
Exactly. Flip the perspective. They're not weaknesses, they're incredibly powerful signals. Invitations, really.
Invitation.
Yeah, an invitation to pause, to tune in, to recalibrate before the whole system just breaks down. It's preventative wisdom, if you listen.
That is a radical shift.
It is. And crucially, this isn't just some mystical idea. It's biology now. It's being confirmed. We talk about things like the vagus nerve, the gut-brain axis. They sound abstract, but they're concrete proof. Mind and body. They're one continuous loop, not separate at all.
Okay, break that down a bit more. The vagus nerve, why is that important for, say, the high performer listening right now?
Think of it like the main communication highway. It connects your gut, your heart, your brain. It runs your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. But when you're constantly stressed, always pushing, always on, that system gets shut down. Your mind might be laser focused on that deadline, but your body, it's stuck in a kind of low-grade chronic fight or flight. So those physical symptoms, the tight shoulders you mentioned, maybe a constantly upset stomach, they aren't random, they're data points. Real information being sent back up that highway. What ancient wisdom knew intuitively you have to care for the vessel, science now confirms. Healing the nervous system is absolutely central to managing emotions and stress. You just can't have a genuinely calm mind in a body that's perpetually tense and braced for impact.
That makes those examples suddenly feel much more concrete. So that clenched jaw isn't just, jaw tension. It could literally be the physical residue of not setting a boundary in that meeting yesterday.
Precisely. The words you didn't say, the no you swallowed for professionalism.
And the tight shoulders. Literally carrying responsibilities you perhaps took on out of obligation, not because they truly aligned with you.
Exactly. And that heart racing at 2 a.m., it's not just random anxiety. It could be your deepest self using biological signals because the mental ones aren't getting through. Asking urgently, hey, is this path really yours? Or are you just playing a role someone else wrote for you?
Wow. Okay. So if the body is the truth teller, the faster messenger than our often deceptive thinking mind, where do we find a framework to actually work with this truth?
Well, we can look to ancient wisdom traditions. Take the Dharma, for instance. There's this concept, Kayagatasati. It translates roughly to mindfulness immersed in the body. And it's not just about, chilling out or reducing stress, though it helps with that. It's really a path of radical honesty, about embodying wholeness, not just performing wellness.
Right, performing wellness. I see that everywhere. But okay, embodying wholeness through body awareness, that feels really countercultural in most high-pressure environments. I mean, how do you sell that? Excuse me, board members, I need to pause and feel my feet on the floor before we decide on the Q4 strategy? It sounds, well, unrealistic. The Buddha had time to sit under a tree, right? We have deadlines.
That's the friction, isn't it? That's the core tension of modern ambition. And that friction, that dissonance, it actually has a name in these traditions.
Dukkha.
Dukkha, often translated as suffering, right? Yes. But suffering can be a bit misleading here, especially for the ambitious listener. Think of dukkha more accurately as the friction of misalignment. It's that grating feeling, the internal static, that arises when there's a gap. A gap between how things really are the truth your body knows deep down and how you're pretending they are.
The forced smile when you disagree. The saying yes when your gut screams no.
Exactly that. The promise you know you can't realistically keep. The goal that sounds impressive but feels empty. That's dukkha.
And you're saying this dukkha, this friction, it always leaves a trace, physically.
Always. Immediately. It might be a sudden shallowing of your breath, a tightening in your chest. Maybe you clench your fists without realizing it, a wave of internal heat. These are somatic markers. And if you cultivate genuine awareness of these signals, what scientists call interoceptive awareness, feeling your internal state, this becomes an incredibly sophisticated tool, even a strategic one.
Okay, give me a concrete example. How does this play out for a leader?
Right, imagine you're leading a really important strategy meeting. The data looks okay on paper, but you feel this significant tightness building in your chest. Your shoulders are up by your ears. Instead of just bulldozing through, the leader, using interoceptive awareness, pauses internally. Just for a second, they check in. Okay, what is this tightness? Is it just nerves?
Yep.
Or am I feeling resistance because I sense we're forcing this plan? Maybe to please investors, even though my gut, my intuition, is flagging a potential problem down the line.
Ah, I see. So it's not about stopping the meeting.
Not necessarily. It's about that split second of somatic honesty, tuning into the body's intel. It allows a shift from being purely reactive, like, oh God, investors must push this through, to being truly responsive, making a decision that feels more aligned, more grounded. The body often signals misalignment or force much faster, much more honestly than our rationalizing mind, which is brilliant at talking itself into things.
Okay, that makes sense. So the aim isn't to eliminate pressure or stress entirely. That's probably impossible in high-stakes roles. Pain happens.
Pain is inevitable, yes.
But the suffering part, the dukkha, that comes from the denial, the resistance, the pretending. That's the optional layer we add on top.
Precisely. And that's where we waste so much energy, fighting reality, fighting our own inner signals.
So how do we move forward then? What's the path to a more integrated success?
Well, building on that, we could look at another concept, samavayama, often translated as right effort. But let's frame it perhaps more practically for this context as efficient effort.
Efficient effort, I like that.
True success, sustainable success, isn't just about working harder and harder. It's about eliminating the wasted effort. The effort driven by fear, anxiety, the need to prove something, maybe even resentment. And how do we spot that wasted effort? We use the body as the early warning system. That tightness, that racing pulse, that knot in the stomach. There's often the signal flare saying, hey, your effort right now is being fueled by fear, not clarity. By compulsion, not alignment.
Which means we need to bring this awareness not just to meditation cushions, but into the everyday chaos, the micro moments.
Absolutely. That's where the real change happens. And the practical steps are often incredibly simple, almost deceptively so, but they can be revolutionary. Like before you hit send on that really charged email or one with high stakes, just pause. Take 3 conscious breaths. Feel your feet actually making contact with the floor.
Grounding yourself.
Literally. It helps settle your nervous system, your vagal tone. It allows you to respond from a place of clarity, not just react impulsively. Or before a tough conversation, a quick internal scan. Where am I holding tension right now? What feeling am I trying to avoid?
So we're essentially building an internal shock absorber, an internal resilience mechanism.
You could put it that way.
Yeah.
Yes. And when you start sourcing your sense of safety and okayness From that inner attunement, that somatic awareness, you gradually stop needing to outsource it.
Meaning less reliance on the external validation, the likes, the bonuses, the praise.
Exactly. You start acting from your core alignment, from what feels true inside, rather than from a place of compelled desperation or trying to please everyone.
Okay, so you mentioned a new metric of success earlier. The degree to which your body feels truly at home in your life. That sounds lovely, almost poetic, but how do we make that practical? How does someone listening measure at home in their body?
It's measured by the absence of that friction, that dukkha we talked about. Think about it. Are you sleeping deeply and restoratively most nights? Are those chronic aches and pains, the headaches, the back issues, the digestive trouble genuinely starting to lessen or disappear? Can you actually sit quietly for, say, 10 minutes without feeling an overwhelming urge to jump up, check your phone, or distract yourself somehow? That indicates a nervous system settling into regulation. These aren't poetic notions, they are concrete biological indicators of inner alignment.
Right, real tangible changes.
Absolutely. Because fundamentally, and this is key, you cannot outperform your inner state long term. You might manage a sprint, hit a target through sheer force of will, yes. But no productivity hack, no amount of caffeine, no tech gadget can truly compensate for a body that is screaming in silent protest underneath it all.
And if you keep ignoring that subtle whisper,
Eventually, it has no choice but to shout. It might manifest as burnout, illness, or relationship breakdown, something that forces the pause you are desperately trying to avoid. Real mastery, the kind that sustains, isn't measured by how much you can endure pushing through pain. It's measured by how deeply you can stay present, grounded, and attuned within the chaos and pressure. That's the game changer.
that really reframes ambition, doesn't it? We started with that paradox high achievement coupled with exhaustion, and we've arrived at seeing the body not as an obstacle, but as our most reliable guide, our inner compass. So treating those physical signals, those symptoms, not as enemies, but as, well, as sacred messengers almost. Strategic data points. It refines our ambition, aligns it with something deeper, truer.
It does.
It moves us away from that relentless culture that seems to glorify burnout, doesn't it? And towards valuing presence, sustainability. So maybe the most revolutionary thing, the most strategic act you could do this week is to actually allow yourself to rest without the guilt, without feeling you need to immediately optimize your recovery.
A powerful thought. And perhaps we can leave you, the listener, with one final, very simple but potentially profound action to try tonight. When you settle down, maybe before you reach for your phone or the TV remote, just take a moment. Place a hand on your heart, or maybe on your gut, wherever feels right, and gently, kindly, just ask internally, what are you trying to tell me right now? Don't analyze, don't search for some big logical answer, just listen. Listen to the sensate, the feeling, the temperature, the subtle signals.
Just listening.
Just listening, because the most fulfilling, truly successful life you could ever build. It might not start with a 10-page strategic plan.
Right.
It might just start with a pause.
Yeah.
A single grounded breath, an honest feeling acknowledged.
And a final thought to leave everyone with.
Maybe consider this. What if healing, real integration, isn't about desperately trying to get back to the person you were before the stress or the burnout hit? What if instead it's about becoming who you're truly meant to be, evolving into that next version of yourself? And what if the very pain, very discomfort you've been running from is actually the doorway, the initiation into that more aligned, more whole self?